on
Hey
air.
Bosh, how's it going, man?
Good to be here with you again, John. How's it
Yeah,
going?
yeah, good to be here too. Let me just check our. Okay, good. We're good to go. I always check just to make sure.
Yeah, this is a cool
Man.
platform. I've never used Restream. It just taps right into X.
Yeah,
Super.
Restream is great. It taps into X. It taps into it can even tap into Pump.Fun, I think, at this point.
Oh
So
man.
if you wanted to stream like there, I think you could. I just haven't figured out how to do it, but it is
Nice.
really cool. It's like a really easygoing platform for streaming.
Hell
Um,
yeah. Very cool.
yeah, it
Well,
was.
thanks for having me on, talking about our stuff.
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm excited because we had such a great conversation. The last time, and it was. I think I called you up. I contacted you to see if you wanted to integrate with us, but we ended up talking about a lot of other stuff, which was really cool. And yeah, it was just a good conversation, and I think what you're building is really awesome. You're building a lot of. So I'm maybe we could just start out with an intro um, on who
Yeah,
you
for
are,
sure.
mm, and what you're building.
Yeah, so I'm Bosch. I'm building Quantish. It's a platform that aggregates multiple prediction market platforms and allows you to do research and then also trade on them with AI agent and then also some other cool features. So that's what I'm working on generally and trying to attack a few different sort of mediums. So we have a web app, a Telegram bot. We're working on an iOS app, and then also some developer tools. So that's sort of just like a short breakdown of what we're working on over here.
And how did you? What were you doing before this? So, like, if you just want to give like a little bit of a summary of like maybe how your journey, like what were you kind of doing before, and how did you end up in prediction markets?
Yeah, for sure.
Where you
So
are.
I'll go back to around like 2021, 2022. I was actually shooting music photography. So I was working for music artists, doing a little bit of like touring, working at music venues. And I saw that some of my friends were actually getting into selling their work online as NFTs, like photography NFTs. And at that time, it was super early, so there was no plug and play solution for sort of just like launching a smart contract. But I really wanted to sell my work, so that got me into developing smart contracts. Actually, I was just a photographer before being a developer of any sort, and so I got into crypto sort of that way a little bit more heavily, and then also into just developing applications on the web, sort of through smart contracts. So that was my intro to crypto, and then in the last couple of years, I've also just been working on building different tools with LLMs and sort of AI agents generally. So one example of this is like I built a platform that helped defense contractors find and submit contracts to the government. These proposals that they're basically like requests to do work for the government, and it would help contractors do that easily with AI. So building different AI platforms and experimenting with just like local LLM models, a lot of stuff where I'm just like dabbling with different tools and building random things, and then sort of all my interest with the AI agent stuff and crypto. I was already looking at prediction markets because naturally, like I was just kind of hip to Polymarket, what was going on there for quite some time, and then I got it's just like all these things sort of came together in a way where I started building this AI agent to trade prediction markets, and I just got really carried away with it. So that was sort of the beginning of this project. Was one of the projects that I was just like dabbling with on the side. It was me building this AI agent for trading prediction markets, and then I got a bit carried away here. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I did a good job there explaining fully the breakdown, but that yeah. So it was a path from like photography to into crypto through smart contracts, and then I did a lot of work as just like a freelance developer for a long time. Um, and yeah, that brought me here where it's sort of like all these different interests of mine are sort of intersecting right now. And now I'm working on Quantish.
Yeah, yeah, it's really interesting, and you're working as a solo dev too, I think, right? Or do you have a
Yeah,
team?
so I'm working as a solo dev right now. I have a little bit of a team of advisors around me, but no permanent team yet. something that I'm trying to do very soon. But I am working as a solo developer, so all the applications, the Telegram bot is my work so far, for
Yeah,
sure.
one of the things that stuck out to me, Bosch, was that I checked. So me and my dev were checking you out, and we
Hmm.
looked at your Twitter profile, and we saw that you were followed by Solana. Um,
Yeah.
how did that happen, and like, what is your connection to Solana? Because that is quite the KOL to have following you. So
I,
I'm
I think
curious.
that yeah, no, that's cool that you caught that. It was super surprising for me too, actually, because I'm like, I know a lot of people in crypto, but I don't know anyone at Solana that would have been able to like give me the follow from me reaching out to them asking for that. So that was actually just I think that they caught something where I was working on this new integration that DFlow has done with Kalshi that allows you to trade on Solana with um, this DFlow API on Kelshi. So I think that they're just really interested in people working on prediction markets right now, and they just sort of saw the project and gave me a follow. And they actually they gave us a retweet or a repost on one of our announcements about it, which was pretty cool too. So yeah, no like insider ball there, but just like cool that someone over there caught eyes for sure.
Yeah, it's high signal though. It's definitely high signal that you're working on something really interesting. And you showed me DFlow too. I think during our call you actually showed me DFlow, which I think it was DFlow, which is like your big API. It's pretty exclusive though. Like you don't share with a lot of people, I don't think.
Well, no,
Is that the same
no,
thing,
no. So
or is that
it's the
something else?
DFlow. We sort of, I think what you're talking about now is some of the tooling that we offer around just like building agents on Quantish. But with the DFlow API, it's DFlow is actually they're a company and an organization that they build all sorts of APIs and tooling and routing for uh, different interactions on Solana. So the prediction market space is a little bit new that they're tapping into right now. But DFlow actually exists as an organization, like a super awesome organization that has actually helped me a lot with development. Like they've been very hands on in helping me figure out a lot of the different things that I have questions about. But that exists separately, and that's specifically
Okay.
for the Kalshi and the Solana stuff. But what we were talking about was we just offer some tools on Quantish for developers. It's two different MCP servers that you can tap into, and that sort of it lets you build agents on top of our developer tools. And I think that that's what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'm not too familiar with Solana development at myself. I'm getting more familiar with it because I'm like a lifelong EVM
Gotcha.
developer. Like when I first got into this space, I immediately started with ETH smart contracts, never pivoted. Briefly, I worked in Cosmos, so I did a little bit of like Rust development, but it wasn't like Solana smart contracts. But now I have to get into Solana, like because now we're starting to build. I think our terminal is going to have like some Solana
Oh yeah.
functionality. So now I have to start learning it. So DFlow is part of the Solana ecosystem.
Yeah, I would say so, and they're sort of the like the rails that are enabling this new trading that integrates Kalshi. So Kalshi is is sort of like a competitor to Polymarket. I'm sure everyone's heard of Kalshi and Polymarket, and they've never had crypto exposure, so you couldn't previously trade using crypto on Solana, and this is the first system that really enables that. So that's sort of where DFlow falls in with like maybe me and your systems, you know?
Interesting. And like explain like I'm curious too. Like so from what I know about Kelshi, because I was talking to the Gondor founder and he was telling me about how they just recently like kind of went on chain, but the way it works is it's almost like RWAs. Like there's tokens on Solana that represent outcome tokens on Kelshi,
Yeah.
basically. So it's not exactly the same. It's not like on the contract level per se as Polymarket, but like, have you worked with the Kelshi? Like, have you worked with Kelshi on chain at all? Like, what if like have you kind of explored that a little bit?
Yeah. They've been a great help too. The Kelshi team. Shout out to everybody at the Kelshi team. There's a pretty small team of people working on the crypto stuff over there. But so I guess the way that it would differ from Polymarket is that Polymarket has their central limit order book. That they have their own order book, but with this system, it's sort of more of a connector to Kalshi's current order book. So Kalshi has their order book on their site, their system that has always been there. And this is sort of like an oracle, so to speak, that gets the price at any given moment from Kalshi. And the reason that there's not limit orders yet, and I think that they're working on this, but the reason that there's no limit orders yet is because in the amount of space in that time where you have to get that price from Kalshi's order book, there's room for slippage. So when you actually place the orders on Solana for placing trades on Kelshi, you have to allow a slippage, and that's very different than how it works on Polymarket. There's no slippage, there's limit orders, and so yeah, just a little bit of a background on how it differs, just like technically. So it's more of like they built this system that connects to Kalshi's system. They did not build their own order book that's operating separately. Yeah, it's just sort of this oracle that connects everything. And that's my best understanding of it. And it's been explained to me a little bit, but if I could be a little bit wrong here or there on that, so don't hold me to anything exactly. And then I know that they're working on limit orders as well. So I think things will change by the time that, anyone really starts integrating and doing all these things. But yeah, so just a little bit on that. That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of almost like I don't want to say like slap on solution, but it's kind of like it's almost like a temporary solution until like the full kind of on-chain integration happens with Kelshi.
Yeah, but I would say it's pretty cool though. It's pretty good. Like it's honestly really good. Like it's cool what they've done because it is a unique solution to the problem. And then the order book that's on Kelshi still operates the same way. So that whatever sort of like, assurance that they have, like offering that on their platform, it still holds that same credibility, which is cool because then it's not like DFlow is sort of taking on extra risk necessarily, if that makes sense. It's not like they're controlling some large pool of money where there's a chance to mess around with it. So, but you're right. There's definitely room for improvement. But I think it's cool what they've done is pretty cool still.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting because it almost seems like the tokens have more, like the Kelshi tokens have a little more exposure in like the DeFi world already than Polymarket tokens. But I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm just, I it just seems like I guess they're more visible because a lot of people still don't even know that you can like that immediately you can get these Polymarket tokens in your wallet.
Yeah, they've done a great job of abstracting that too because they actually exist as NFTs basically.
Right.
Every position on Polymarket, but I think that it's pretty cool to be this early too, because everyone, you always hear like you're early, but it has to be early still if everyone hasn't figured out all these different little facets of the best way to do trading. So it'll be cool to see how people sort of optimize it into the future.
Yeah, I think so. So kind of going back to your product. So like what are you the most bullish on? So I know you have like a lot of products, right? You have like kind of a framework for creating agents
Yeah.
with Quantish. You have a Telegram agent, and then you have what we're looking at right now, which I don't know if you kind of want to get into this a little bit as well. But but what is like the core product that you're shipping over the next couple weeks?
For sure.
What's your main focus?
So I think Quantish is just trying to be the best platform to trade all these different platforms and research all these different platforms, right? So that's generally how I'm thinking about it, and attacking that through all these different sort of like vectors and applications like Telegram, the web app, is just part of sort of being that, because there's traders that are on Telegram, there's traders that are on their phone, and we're building an iOS app right now to target people that may have not, maybe aren't so active, just like in crypto and on X, and maybe have seen the web app. So it's just the best way, I think, to sort of get our platform out is to build it horizontally in that way, where we just target all these different platforms. But the main goal is just to be the best place to research these markets, trade all these markets in one place, and make it really easy for not just people that are experienced traders, but people that are just interested in prediction markets and understanding the information that they're providing, whether they want to trade or not. So even right now, we're working on some new ways to interpret prediction market data through some new front end examples. So if you, even on this website right here, this is just our site here, and you can filter by different platforms. You can search, and it will target all these different markets, 100,000 plus markets across the platforms. And then also, yeah, just experimenting with new interfaces, I think, will be a big thing for the next like couple weeks and months. Not just this plain interface here where you see sort of how you've seen it on Polymarket, but if you see at the top of the page, there's a weather, there's a little button that says weather at the very top. So this would be an example
Oh
of
yeah.
this. Yeah, so this would be an example of this, actually, is like, one thing we're going to post about this soon, but this is sort of like a new front end interpretation of how to view weather in a familiar way. Like we all know sort of like the iOS weather app. And this is almost like if you could have reimagined the iOS weather app, but interpreting the data from the markets, different cities on the high and low temperatures of them, is sort of what this front end is. And we're working on this. And yeah, I think that this will be a really cool thing for us, as well as building new front ends specifically for different little niches within the markets. But yeah, just generally trying to be the best place to trade all these different platforms into the future.
Yeah. This is very cool. Like kind of adding this weather thing in here to just capture more data. I mean, I think it's so tricky with prediction markets because you need so much data to just be informed on these markets. And it's
For sure.
like, how do you even condense that, right? Like,
Yeah, and
but
that's a great, that,
yeah, go
if you don't mind, that leads me into something that I think what I'm super bullish on with Quantish is just our ability to access this data, the way that we're bringing in the data into our database. So we're not, when we're querying these markets and finding the markets, we're actually using our own database, which is constantly ingesting data throughout the day, 100% of the day. Every 10 minutes, there's new markets, new data being brought in. And what we're doing is actually embedding against these markets with LLMs. So without getting too technical, all this just allows us to do an AI native search and search across hundreds of thousands of different rows in a database in a much faster way, because of how we're bringing in and just doing these things called embeddings with the LLMs against the data. It lets us search with the LLMs easier. And this is something that we're doing really well, and even want to offer to other developers some of our tools for doing this. But that is a huge problem, actually. It's like, how do you take 150,000 markets across all these different platforms that have new data within the last 10 minutes, and then give that all to an agent in a way that it can even understand it? You can't just give it all to the agent at once, or a person. So this is something that we're thinking a lot about.
Yeah, and is the goal at some really like, it's interesting because there's a lot of people focusing on agents right now. And when we think about like the agentic future, it's almost like, does the terminal interface become almost irrelevant at some point? Or like do you imagine that it's going to look like this, let's say 2 years from now, right? This is kind of like a meta question, I guess. But like, what do you
Yeah.
kind of imagine the future of trading becoming when everyone is working on kind of like creating agentic, you know, services to trade? Like I'm curious on your thoughts about like the durability of like an interface like this versus like typing it, just giving it to some agent and having the agent kind of make the trades for you. Maybe
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
put in a little of your own design. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what and we're doing. I think that one thing I haven't that's not maybe super obvious on the page. So if you click that blue button at the bottom, that the one that just says Q and then agent, that brings you to the agent page. So you do have to set up a wallet, but yeah, so we're working a lot on agents' ability to trade these different prediction markets and building the tools that let people do that. I think this is an interesting question because it doesn't just affect trading on prediction markets. I think that it sort of affects everything. Like a great example would be coding. So a lot of people right now are using different AI tools like Claude Code, Cursor. I know I definitely am. And I find myself more frequently speaking to these tools and basically using like voice dictation applications or the audio tool on my phone to give commands to the different agents that are actually building Quantish itself. So it's something that I'm even doing more is just using natural language to do a lot more. But I think that it will be hard to move from the interfaces that we're so used to already because we're still using computers, still using phones. So maybe there will be a gap there where maybe we still need like a web app user interface for many more years to come. But I do think that there will be a point where maybe we're all wearing glasses and we're seeing like virtual screens. But I think that voice is the optimal way to communicate with agents. And then like next, it's all about natural language. So the next best thing would just be typing. And I think that that's why we're focusing on building agents is because it just feels so much better to be able to have a natural conversation when you're trying to understand something. And I think that that's why a lot of people use ChatGPT and these other tools is because it's just so easy to ask a question that's just sort of something you have on your mind that you can ask naturally. That I feel like that has to be the optimal way to research markets as well for the average trader or just someone who's interested in trading in that way. But maybe there's always going to be a space for people to do more advanced trading on sort of terminal interfaces, and maybe that looks different into the future too. But I think that yeah, natural language and just speaking and working with agents, I feel like right now they're just beginning to work really well. So this was not really possible a year ago. The new LLMs that are coming out now, the new wave of like Claude 4.5, even some of the open source LLMs like ZAI with GLM now 4.7, and all these other great models that they are actually doing well enough now to enable a lot of this and have it be smart and really actually helpful. So yeah, I feel like it's a great time to be building agents, but I think that maybe we won't still I think it will take some time to see like entire interfaces that we're used to maybe change. Um, but yeah, thinking about this a lot. And then even that's, I think in another, it's related adjacent is trying to build familiar interfaces that bring this data to users and even let them trade on the markets, but with a familiar interface, because you don't need to look at a terminal to trade these markets. It's not, these aren't coins, it's not just it's not there's more of like a qualitative aspect to a lot of this, not a quantitative aspect. It's funny because our name is Quantish, but it's almost like people they have maybe they're a quant, right? But now it's almost like they need to be a qualt and like look at the
Yeah.
qualities of different things because that's what sort of matters in the prediction markets is it's the quality of the information. It's not even the quantity of the data you're getting some of the time. So yeah, a lot of my thoughts just ranting around, but some of how I'm thinking
Yeah.
about this.
I mean, that's like an excellent point that I like. Yeah, I think you just captured it perfectly. In the sense that it's like it's the qualitative data versus the quantitative. Like when you're trading, an equity, you can just or a cryptocurrency or meme coin or anything, you can just look at the chart and kind of vibe out with the chart more or
Yeah,
less, and then just kind of like be like, oh yeah, based off of pattern data, I know it's going to move this way. Oh yeah, like it's all like you can get a lot out of that chart,
yeah,
right? With prediction markets, you really can't. You really cannot get a lot out of the chart. You're really looking for events. I mean, it depends what type of market you're trading, right? If you're trading like crypto prediction markets, maybe, but like, you know, you really got to have all, you know, you're looking at a bunch of different types of information that's outside of the terminal to make your decision,
Yeah. It's almost,
more or less. Now,
it doesn't even make sense to use the terminal for a lot of it, for sure.
yeah. Now you can look at like the order book, I guess, and you can like determine like, oh yeah, like maybe some insiders jumped in. Like I'm seeing some high volume trades right here. Maybe they know something. So maybe they're. So I guess you could look at that a little bit. But oh man, there's a lot more
But
to
at
it
that
than that.
point, you're sort of like, I think you're totally right, but I think that I don't want to focus on that because it's sort of like that would be more for the professional trader, or not even the professional, but someone who's like not your average person that's just interested in the prediction markets. And I feel like there will always be a space for that. But yeah, man, it definitely is like surprising how many platforms are building just terminal interfaces where the chart is sort of the main feature. So I could see right now we're sort of dabbling with the weather app experiment, but another interface that I want to tackle is something for sports where maybe you're seeing the court or the actual uh, information on the screen in such a way that resembles the game as it's ongoing. And I think that there's just so many different ways that you can experiment. And there's going to be some cool shit that comes out for sure. So that's
Yeah.
why I think next for us is like attacking these different niches in the prediction markets, because once we sort of lay the groundwork where we have the different applications and then the framework to build the agents easily and just build these systems easily, the interface is like almost the only other thing that matters when it comes to the apps.
Yeah. I just kind of so I was looking at this page. So basically, what you do is I know I'd have to get like a
No,
wallet
you
set
could
up or
actually, I
something.
think here, try clicking that. Let's see, just if you hit generate wallet here, it should work.
Oh, it might be because I don't have any stuff in my
No,
wallet. I basically
yeah.
just. Oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, no, go ahead.
It here we,
Trading,
it,
but I can see you can do like a ton of stuff here. Like you can set up like automations,
yeah,
which is
for sure. I
cool.
think it's just because we
Um,
didn't set you up fully on the login, but you just kind of you have to go into the wallet page. You actually have to sign. There's a few different things that you have to sign when you first go on to Quantish, but me and you were just sort of playing around with this before. So you would go into, it would take a minute, but you go into like the wallet page and you'd have to sign these transactions. But maybe let me see if I could get a little demo up right now. But it
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
this
Let's
is
do
sort of
that.
just like that's the agent page where you would trade on, and you would have your let's see, let me try to share my screen right here. Screen share. Hold on. All right. All right, can you see this?
Yes. Let me just add you in. All right.
All right, cool. So this is sort of just the agent on the website, and I guess right now what I'm given is a little bit of an example of just finding a market. But if you could see up here, the agent actually does have a balance up here, and you can work with the agent on our site to actually trade with you on Polymarket. So you could do research. The agent you see here, it got the markets, found information about them, but you could take it further and you can get pretty into searching around the web too, which brings us into how we integrated your tool actually, which is we sort of had this basic web search when we were doing internet searches before. It wasn't anything advanced on the web search. It's sort of the way that we brought it in and sort of interpreted it after that. But now for the web search, we're bringing in your search actually. So we've integrated your API, which is cool for us
Oh,
to
that's
announce
really
also.
cool.
So we've actually done that on the Telegram bot, the website, not only here, but if we come over to here, any of these markets, if you click on little research on any of these cards,
Oh, I love that. Powered by
yeah,
Poly. That's really cool,
polyfactual
man.
logo in there, and you can run some research. So now we've got your API integrated. Really, really cool how you guys have you just have a good search system. So very awesome job. And this is the same tool that's
Thank you.
built into the agent as well. So we've got you guys integrated now, which is really cool. And then, right now I think that I don't have any positions on this wallet, but so it has access to everything. It has access to. Okay, I don't have this set up here. Okay, so but you could trade on the markets. You could trade on Kelshi. You could trade on Polymarket, and then you can also just do research, even if you're just interested in doing research and not actually trading. So some of the agent.
Yeah, that is a really cool product, man. I think that might be the first comprehensive agent I've seen. Um, where you can actively like use the agent to trade on Polymarket. Is this one of the first agents? Because I don't think I've seen a super comprehensive Polymarket trading agent.
I think that it's not the first. It's definitely it's maybe like the third though. So I think that we're pretty early. Maybe there's another one. There's a group that we're friends with. Fortuna Protocol is their name. I think they have it.
Oh yeah, Fortuna.
But the thing that's different is that once you go on our platform and set up a wallet, you go online, you go to the wallet page, sign these transactions, and then you get your wallet set up, and it will let you actually trade. So that's, I think, part of the difference between us and a lot of the other platforms is that it will confirm with you that you want to place the trade, but you can actually just have a conversation. And when you find, let's say, like a price that you want to put a limit order for on a certain market, it will help you do that, do the research before that. So I think that we're definitely one of the earliest that does the trading with the agent and is not doing maybe like a copy trading solution. I think there's some other platforms that have maybe they have an agent that they've built and then they have the ability to sort of copy trade it. So that's a little bit different than what we're doing. We're trying to build agents that can do the whole thing for you: research, trade, and then even if you go to our just our X page and you look, there's an example of how we make it super easy to bring it into Cursor as well. So if you're just using like Cursor, IDE, or Claude Code, we actually like you can just tap into the MCP and trade through Cursor on sort of our system that lets you tap into the markets, lets you do trading, and yeah, it's fully set up. So right now, if you go to the site docs.quantish.live, it will you'll see there's just like an add to cursor button, and yeah, we're going to be releasing some cool developer tools soon too, some more stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I mean, like, I think it's such a natural interface too. It's in the sense that it's like, okay, yeah, like I'm researching, I'm asking ChatGPT a bunch of questions, or I'm asking the agent a bunch of research questions about like, how like, what do you know about this election? What do you know about this? And then you can just place the trade right directly from there. And I think that that's such a natural flow. And yeah, it just seems like a really good use case for agents. I mean, even I'd argue even more so than just like regular cryptocurrencies, just because I can do a lot of that stuff as we were saying earlier, right from the terminal. But with this, I can research, I can have a dialogue going,
Yeah,
which is really cool.
for sure. And we also, I think what would be cool is we're sort of offering these developer tools for free so that to encourage other people to build their own AI agents. So we don't even, not even just necessarily trying to keep it just within the platform itself on these web applications, but also seeing if people can build other tools that are even maybe more niche in some way, or just interesting agents on our Rails. So I think that now that one of the things that Quantish does well is just crack the ability to like tap into this MCP and allow just one of these LLMs to interact with it. And I think that that's the big unlock. And hopefully that will be really useful to other developers as well. So I know you guys are building developer tools a little bit different than us. It's like more about the research, right? And then I guess like we're more about the building blocks for the agents themselves, that let them easily tap into the research and all these other things. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's cool too from our end because the other thing we're building is like fund infrastructure. So like, if you're starting like a fund or something like that, and you can imagine if you had a really good agent, you attach it to a fund, I think that could be like a really cool use. Now that's more of like a copy trading kind of application, but yeah, I think it would be interesting. I remember Virtuals was doing something with trading agents for a while, or they tried to, but I think it was very difficult for them.
for sure.
Um, but uh, but you can imagine that, like, if you had very powerful agent, that was able to kind of execute trades and kind of, perform well. Yeah, you could attach some sort of a fund to it and something or something like that, and people could get exposure to it.
For sure.
So that's kind of what we're building, but minus the agent part. We're just building the funding mechanism, really.
Yeah.
So I think it would be cool to, you know, uh, get some agent, kind of
Yeah, for
onto our
sure.
platform when we launch it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's a lot of cool stuff to do because, again, it's just the prediction market space is pretty early, so early that people don't even haven't figured out the technicals fully, So the way that DeFi and all these other things are going to come into it, it'll be really interesting to see for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to keep you much longer, but I have a couple kind of some questions for you just about where you think the prediction market, where you think prediction markets are going in 2026. And then I also want to ask you, because I know you guys have a token, so I'm just wondering if you want to share some more info about that as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to
So,
ask the token question. You
oh
have to
yeah, for
ask.
sure. Like we have a token. It's Quant, and the token is sick. It's going to let us reward our users in our in our native token, and it's called Quant. We just don't post about it a ton because we're focused on building the project. It's always project
Mm,
and product first. But yeah, check out Quant.
yeah.
If you dig around our page, you'll find it in a second. It should come up on Pump Fun. It was a pump token. And yeah, man, it's cool to just like, if you're a crypto native platform, actually have your own token, because then you can do some fun stuff. So that's a Quant
Yeah, and
token.
it's good for self-funding too. Like it really, I would say like the huge benefit of all these launch pads that are coming up, like Pump.Fun, and then there's Bags, and then there's a couple others. There was Believe. The big benefit is that I think the fee model actually aligns incentives a lot better than what it used to be, which was like, oh yeah, I'm a founder, and then in order to fund my project, I might have to like rug the token or whatever. But now it's
Yeah,
like, there's fee trading, and you can self fund, and it kind of separates you from the dangers of venture capital. And there are a lot of dangers to that. People don't like to talk about it. They just kind of assume venture capital is like the best way to go all the time. But
for sure.
to be honest with you, I think when the team is self-funded and self-reliant, I think that's the best way to go for a lot of people, because the team has more control. They can kind of decide the direction. They're not at the mercy of like big investors who are just trying to get a fast cash out, basically.
Yeah,
So I think that there's a lot of benefits to having a token on one of these launch pads, and I just think it's a really interesting model that's developing.
yeah,
We are working within that same model, so just wondering if you've, like,
yeah. It's
it
like,
could
it's
be
cool.
too early to say, but
No, it's like a few $1,000s in fees is like a really big deal. So just
yeah,
people sort of like trading the token before we even really heavily integrate it into the platform is sick. If we could get a few $1,000s to keep the platform alive and like not charge for any of the agent stuff, because goddamn is Claude Opus and Sana expensive as fuck. Um, but yeah, man, the fee model is cool, and then we have tokens locked away too for the project that unlock over 2 years. So it's like I think that, and we got a little bit of advice on that model too for how to lock away the tokens, and I think that that's a good incentive model for me and us as well. As it's just like if you want your tokens to be worth anything, locking them up for a long time is a good incentive model because you're sort of incentivized to build over years if you want them to be worth anything for that amount of time. So I think that between the fees and then sort of like doing what we did with the locking up the tokens model is, yeah, it's cool. And it does let you stay away from sort of that VC pool for as long as you can. Sometimes it makes sense to get into that. And I think that it's cool that it allows us to sort of like bring in some fees before we even like tap into any investment from sort of like real classic style VC, because then things get dicey. So just having full control is definitely cool. And then having it done in a way where it's like gives people a little bit of confidence is cool too. So big shout out to Pump Fun. We're big fan of Pump Fun right now. Shout out to
same here.
Those are good guys.
I think Pump Fun is doing a great job with this, to be honest. Like I think there's a lot of other launch pads that were started earlier in the year that maybe I think Pump.Fun is doing a really good job. I think that they're doing a better job than some of the early forays into this space, and they're really kind of trying to align the founder, the dev team, and the holders in a way that I think is working really well. I mean, like I'm seeing a lot of quality Pump.Fun projects, including yours, that are just popping up more and more. So so big shout out to those guys, and I think it's going to be really interesting for startups going forward.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like Pump Fun gets a little bit of shit online for a lot of things, but they're like, I think that they're like trying to bring on great projects to the platform right now. So it'll be cool to see how it develops too, especially as like the focus comes off of memes and a little bit more into like, real serious projects, what people are calling internet capital markets,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's going to be cool. I think, I mean, the real predatory model again is the VCs, but that's just my personal opinion. But let's see what happens.
You got to watch out. There's some of these launch pads that are a little bit more like they're like legally binding than they might seem on the front, which Pump Fun is not. So very cool. But
yeah, it's very open.
You're not indebted to Pump Fun when you launch a Pump Fun token. So
right, yeah. So
but in any
it's an exciting time.
Yeah, and then I guess with the prediction markets, you were just saying like, what do I think for 2026 might be, like up?
Yeah, like what is? Yeah, exactly. Like what? I'm really bullish on 2026. I think 2026 is going to be a huge year for prediction markets, and I it's mostly because it's a political on season.
Yeah.
And just because of that alone, I think it's going to be huge. But I'm curious on your take on like, let's make this kind of like a two-part question. Like first of all, what's your general take on what's going to happen in 2026? What do you see? And then what are the most, maybe some vectors that you're not working on that you think are very interesting in prediction markets right now? Like if you could work on other things, what would it be? Two kind of a long question, but two parts.
No, let me try to remember both. With the 20, I guess. Oh, dude, I struggle sometimes. But with 2026, I think like this might be the year that like if you haven't heard about prediction markets from a family member, you're probably going to hear about them from a family member this year. Like in the same way that maybe your family member might have texted you in 2017 and said like, "What is Bitcoin?" or "What's Ethereum?" I think that they're really going to creep into not just people that are sort of in the markets online, but just the way that people are interpreting information. So on the news, online, just what are the odds, I think will be a question that you're seeing a lot more, whether people are participating or not. And because of that, I think you're going to see the name Polymarket a lot more and be hearing Polymarket probably from family members that are bringing it up out of whatever context that you know it in. So I think that I don't know what's going to actually happen in 2026. It could be a crazy year, but I think that it's definitely like a year for prediction markets to sort of like dominate mind share. So that's,
Mhm.
I think, yeah, I think that it just, you're going to be hearing about them more. I don't know if that's a good answer, but as far as working on new things, I have a pretty specific answer. Something that we were dabbling with was like, this is all about interpreting information on the news. So something like how I was talking about attacking new interfaces for interpreting the information, something like a news website. And we even released a little thing with this, but I think that it deserves its own project, this interpreting the news and having like a New York Times style website where you have the market somehow baked into the news directly, where in the text and the imagery, it's sort of getting the context for the prediction markets as it relates to the news. So what does that look like when a New York Times or like maybe a publication that is actually worth reading, like publishing something and you're looking at like the markets right in there? I think something like that would be cool. But yeah, just different ways to interpret the markets that are not terminals and even not like how we have it on the website here. I think this is like the starting point. You have to have this, but yeah, new ways for the niche markets. Even I think there's like millions of dollars every week traded on how many tweets Elon will make. You know what I mean? That's like, that deserves its own platform. You know what I mean? I think that, yeah, so many different niches just maybe deserve their own platform. So that's something that I would work on if I had more time, is not trying to be the everything platform with all these developer tools, but maybe just leaning really heavily into one niche, like video games. I have a lot of friends that trade the video game competitions, and I think that there's so much opportunity there to also build like a native interface to that. So yeah, native interfaces for interpreting prediction market data. That's what I would say is like what I would build right now if I wasn't building Quantish, which is already kind of building that too, you know?
Yeah, that's a very interesting answer. I mean, like I almost feel like, crypto's, whatever, crypto adjacent, trading adjacent. It's like for a long time, everything's been focused on trading, but there's so much product market fit here with just content. If you can figure out how to use the prediction market infrastructure as like a new type of engine for content.
Yeah,
um
yeah,
there's a lot there that I think could break out of trading being like the main product that everyone's doing, because most of Polymarket's users are not traders. Most of them just like browse Polymarket,
yeah,
um
yeah.
which is really kind of an interesting statistic when you think about it. So
Yeah, this is totally different than like just coins in so many ways, for sure. Like the way that you're hearing like world leaders mention Polymarket is like crazy. So yeah, I think that it's almost like it's a new way to just find information, and that's really what got me into it. Is that I participate in the markets, but I'm actually mainly attracted to what is going on in the world and how you can just look at the markets and say like, oh wow, like 20% went up on like Maduro being in jail at the end of the year, like that, there must be some catalyst there that just caused that spike just now, you know? And then it's like you go and you look at the news and there's nothing there yet. But then 20 minutes later, there is something there. And it's like, wow, like Polymarket really is actually getting the signal first, which, yeah, it opens up so much. And even if you see like, I think CNN just did something with one of the platforms, like they're integrating it in the news now in like real official ways. So yeah, it'll be super interesting to see how this breaks out of just like this sort of like online trading world for sure.
Bosh, it was great having you on, man. I think the product you're building is really cool, especially after seeing it. Again, I'm really impressed by the agent. I just find that really impressive. So it was really cool seeing this product. Awesome to see the polyfactual integration. And yeah, it was a pleasure having you on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. If you go into the Telegram bot, you'll see the polyfactual integration. And I'll also I didn't even make a post about this because I've just been caught up here, but I'll go make a post about that now. And it's cool to have your stuff like really helping us out. So really appreciate that, man. And I'll catch you soon.
Yeah, man. Catch you soon. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Talk soon, man.
Talk
Adios.
soon.
I don't know how to get